Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to a news cycle on global television coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwebe, reminding our viewers that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomsat. Chief of Defense Staff Christopher Musa says the military follows strict protocols before executing any airstrike across the various theaters of operations. Musa, who was reacting to the recent accidental killing of 16 civilians in Zamfara on Saturday, stated that the military conducts its airstrikes with precision, noting the civilians are not deliberately targeted. In the meantime, suspected members of the Islamic group Boko Haram terrorists have reportedly killed a yet-to-be-known number of farmers in Kukawa local government area of Borno State. Reports say the incident occurred in a village called Kayakura in Kukawa, and residents in the area who confirmed the incident said more farmers were abducted by the terrorists. Meanwhile, the State Commissioner of Information and Internal Security, Usman Tar, confirmed the attack in a statement calling on the armed forces to track and neutralize the criminals. 32 members of the Lagos State House of Assembly have impeached Speaker Mudashiru Obasa over allegations of abuse of office and gross misconduct. Obasa, who represents Agege State constituency 1 in 2007, has been accused of spending 17 billion naira on a gate to the Assembly complex, which critics argue is excessive and fraudulent. There have also been allegations of mishandling constituency funds and projects. Members of the Assembly immediately elected Mojishola Miranda, representing Apapa 1 state constituency, as the new speaker. Meanwhile, the Lagos State House of Assembly has sworn in its first female speaker, Mojishola Miranda. Miranda took a oath of office following the impeachment of the former speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, during plenary. Clerk of the House, Olalekan Onafeko, was also suspended indefinitely, while the Chief Whip, Mojid Fatai, was elected as the new Deputy Speaker. Quite a lot of radical changes happened today at the Lagos State House of Assembly, and that will form much of our talking points tonight on Big Talk with Eddie Michael. Be sure not to miss it. Let's turn to other stories for you now. Nigeria will, on Wednesday, January 15, host a regional meeting on Lassa fever vaccine development. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, disclosed this during an interview with newsmen. Last December, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention activated the Lassa Fever Emergency Operations Center to address the current Lassa fever outbreak during this peak season. And still talking health matters, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says an independent assessment has been conducted to evaluate the quality of care in tertiary hospitals across the country. Pate, speaking during an interview, noted that the survey was carried out by the National Tertiary Hospitals Standards Committee in order to evaluate the quality of care provided to Nigerians. He explained that the committee was formed based on the provisions of the National Health Care Act of 2014. The Federal Capital Territory Commissioner of Police, CP Chuni Disu, says arrested vandals of manholes and public property will henceforth be charged with economic sabotage and attempted murder. Disu made the statement during a press briefing following a Security Council meeting with the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Last week, operatives of the FCT Police Command, in collaboration with sister agencies, had arrested 50 suspected vandals in separate raids at hotspots in Kabusa, Garki, Mabushi, and Wuse. A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC in Kano State, Mukhtar Ishak, has trained over 1,400 youths on information technology. The exercise was organized in line with the party's national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Gandije's commitment to youth empowerment across Kano State. Global TV Northwest correspondent Idris Jibrin now reports.
Drawn from the 44 local government areas of Kano State, these youth were trained on various aspects of information technology under the Muqtariya Foundation of the All Progressive Congress.
For the first 5 years, we have been doing it, and every year we are increasing the number of intake in the school. So we'd like to continue with that.
According to these APC chieftains in Kano, the training program aligns with the commitment of the APC national chairman to youth empowerment across the country.
As you know, our father, our political godfather, Baba Ganduje, has been in the forefront of actualizing skills acquisition in Kano State was the establishment of Dangote Skills Acquisition Center.
Chairing the occasion, leader of the Northern Lawmakers, Alhassan Ado Dogwa, clarifies the position of the House regarding the controversial tax reform bill as he challenged political representatives to adopt alternative education system such as this one.
Education, I want to repeat, education is so huge a project that the government cannot do it alone. Take for instance, the tax reform bills to which we are all standing vehemently against. We are standing against it because we believe it might not work out well for the people we are representing. It doesn't matter who is the governor of Kano State, but at least I am an indigene of Kano State. It doesn't matter who is the governor in Kazina, or in Kaduna, or in Zamfara, or in Enugu. But any program that comes to bear negatively to the fortunes of our respective governments in our respective states, then those of us who are on the floor of the House of Representatives to hold brief for our people will dare not allow any policy that will come and be detrimental to the interests and aspirations of our own people.
About 1,410 of these youth have now benefited from this training program and are expected to become self-reliant. From Kano, Idris Jobrin reporting for Global Television News.
Well, thank you, Idris, for your reporting there. Now let's turn to judicial matters where the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba Mensem, has cautioned judges of courts with coordinate jurisdiction against delivering conflicting judgments. Justice Dongba Mensem issued the warning during the commencement of the special sitting of the Court of Appeal in Enugu, emphasizing the importance of the rigorous conference process where justices deliberate collectively on cases. She noted that this practice will be strictly upheld under the leadership of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, urging legal practitioners to familiarize themselves with the Court of Appeal's rules to ensure efficient court proceedings. An Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan, the state capital, has presided over Justice K.B. Olawoyi, who has granted the bail applications filed by Olori Naomi Shelekunla, Oriyomi Hamzat, and Abdullahi Fesesi, who are facing trial on a 4-count charge which borders on conspiracy, acceleration of death, negligent acts causing harm, and omitting to provide adequate security and medical facilities. A Chief Magistrate, Olabisi Ogunkomi, presiding over Chief Magistrates Court 1, Iyaganku, Ibadan, had on December 24, 2024, ordered the trio to be remanded at Agodi Correctional Facility, pending an advice from the Department of Public Prosecution of the Oyo State Ministry of Justice. Reports say Oyo State government had instituted a fresh 18-count charge sheet before the Oyo State High Court against the trio in relation to the stampede bordering on alleged conspiracy to commit a felony. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has announced the approval of 4 airlines to uplift pilgrims for their 2025 Hajj. This is contained in a statement signed by the Assistant Director, Information and Publication for the Commission, Fatima Usara. The statement says the selection process was conducted by a 32-member aviation screening committee inaugurated on November 26, 2024 by the Commission's chairman, Professor Abdullahi Uthman. In a related development, the Federal Capital Territory Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board has announced January 30, 2025 as the new deadline for the registration of individuals intending to participate in 2025 Hajj pilgrimage. In a statement signed by the board spokesperson, Mohammed Aliyu, the extension follows a directive from the National Hajj Commission Nigeria to state pilgrims welfare boards and agencies to complete all financial remittances by February 1, Aliyu said the board has already utilized over 40% of its Hajj quota since beginning the registration process in September of 2024 and urged respective pilgrims to take advantage of this extension to make their deposits. Elsewhere, troops of 6th Division, Nigerian Army, have destroyed no fewer than 32 illegal refineries in its continued efforts to curb oil theft across the Niger Delta region. The troops, with support from other security agencies, also deactivated 14 boats used for the criminal activities, arrested 15 suspected oil thieves, and recovered over 60,000 liters of stolen products during the operation. You're watching the live broadcasts of News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. When the rest of News Cycle returns shortly, Sports Commission defends Eric Shelley's appointment as Super Eagles coach. We have those details as well as foreign and business for you. Do stay with us. Now let's talk business. As the country battles incessant blackouts, about 250 manufacturers and academic institutions have abandoned their respective power distribution companies to generate their own electricity. The organizations, many of whom are electricity users, shunned the national grid to generate reliable electricity for themselves, coming amid the high cost of electricity, fuel price hikes, incessant grid collapses, and several other factors. The National Agricultural Development Fund has signed a contract agreement valued at $70 million for the direct procurement of 2,000 John Deere tractors. NAFD was mandated by the Federal Executive Council to spearhead the deployment of 10,000 John Deere tractors across Nigeria, with an initial rollout of 2,000 units scheduled for the first and second quarter of 2025, and to scale it up to 10,000 over the next 5 years. Let's go beyond Nigeria now. Asian and European markets sank after an outsized U.S. jobs report dealt another blow to hopes for more interest rate cuts, while oil extended a rally sparked by new sanctions on Russia's energy sector. The equity sell-off tracked hefty losses on Wall Street, where all three main indexes finished more than 1% lower as the new trading year continued to filter. Keenly awaited data has shown that the U.S. economy created 256,000 jobs last month, a jump from November's revised 212,000 and smashing forecast of 150,000 to 160,000 jobs. On the global scene, the United States has unveiled new export rules on chips used for artificial intelligence, furthering efforts to make it tough for China and other rivals to access advanced technology in Joe Biden's final days as president. The restrictions build on curbs announced in 2023 on exporting certain AI chips to China, which the United States sees as a strategic competitor. In recent years, Washington has expanded its efforts to curb exports to state-of-the-art chips to China, which can be used in AI and weapons systems, as Beijing's tech advancements spark concern among policymakers. Official documents have shown that the suspended South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will receive a scheduled pay rise despite an impeachment trial and investigation into his ill-fated martial law declaration. Yoon has been impeached by lawmakers and is awaiting a final constitutional court ruling that could finalize his removal from office after his suspended civilian rule on December 3, sending soldiers into parliament and plunging South Korea into its worst political crisis in decades. Yoon was given a raise according to the civil servant salary table for 2025, even as he remains holed up in the presidential residence using his security detail to resist arrest. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has announced that it has received sufficient number of petitions to meet the limit for the extra 20,716 H-2B visas allocated for returning workers in the first half of fiscal year 2025. According to the agency, the petitions allocated as part of the fiscal year 2025 temporary final rule that was published on December 2 for returning workers have now been fully submitted. The final receipt date for petitions requesting these visas was announced January 7, 2025. The visas were available for workers with start dates on or before March 31st, 2025 under the H-2B Supplemental Cap Temporary Final Rule. Let's remain in the U.S. now, where the President Joe Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have spoken by phone in Biden's final week in office as momentum builds towards a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Israel and Hamas are understood to be making progress, but uncertainty remains over key aspects of the potential agreement. While the White House said Biden discussed the fundamentally changed regional circumstances following Israel's ceasefire with Hezbollah in Lebanon, the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, and the weakening of Iran's power in the region, Netanyahu's office said he had updated Biden on instructions he had given to senior negotiators in Doha in order to advance the release of the hostages. And back home in Africa, Mozambique is set to swear in its new parliament following months of deadly protests over an election in October that the opposition said was rigged. Opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has called on supporters to hold peaceful protests from Monday to Wednesday, when Daniel Chapo is due to be installed as the president. Let's find some excitement in sport now. The chairman of the National Sports Commission, NSC, Shehu Diko, has defended the appointment of Eric Schell as the new coach of the Super Eagles, praising his exceptional coaching, especially with the Malian Eagles. The 47-year-old's appointment by the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has faced criticism, with some arguing that the football body settled for a former Malian coach instead of choosing a Nigerian for the top job. Speaking during a television program, Diko stated that Schell has a strong understanding of African football and is well suited for the job. In the meantime, Eric Schell has officially been unveiled as the new head coach of Nigeria's Super Eagles at a ceremony which took place at the media conference room of the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. The Nigerian National Football Federation confirmed the former Mali international's appointment last Tuesday, making him the 32nd substantive head coach of the Super Eagles. Eric Schell is also expected to lead the home-based Super Eagles in the 2024 African Nations Championship, otherwise called CHAN, set to take place in Ivory Coast. Boxing legend Tyson Fury has announced his retirement from the sports, bringing an iconic career to an end following consecutive losses to undisputed heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk. Speculation had been rife about Fury's next move, with fans eagerly anticipating either a trilogy bout against Usyk or a long-awaited showdown with fellow Briton Anthony Joshua. Instead, the Gypsy King has chosen to bow out of the ring, leaving an indelible mark on the world of boxing. Quite iconic indeed. But let's look at tennis for you. Former Wimbledon champion Marketa Vlasova has pulled out of the Australian Open after failing to recover from an injury she sustained at the Adelaide International. The Czech player only returned to action this year after 6 months on the sidelines following shoulder surgery, which saw her slip to 38 in the world. The former world number 6, who won Wimbledon in 2023, said on Instagram that she is heartbroken to withdraw from the Australian Open due to an injury she sustained. And out to basketball, the Los Angeles Lakers and Clippers were preparing for a return to NBA action as firefighters continued to battle massive blazes that have killed at least 16 people and left thousands without homes. The NBA had postponed the Lakers game against the Charlotte Hornets on Thursday and postponed Lakers and Clippers home games on Saturday, saying they did not want to divert resources from the wildfire response. However, both teams were preparing to host games on Monday, the Lakers against the San Antonio Spurs and the Clippers against the Miami Heat. And incidentally, words will fail us to describe the heat in Los Angeles, California right now. But what more can we say? We keep you posted on that very nasty and mind-throbbing development. That's your news on global news cycle at this point. I would just like to remind our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on NigeComSat. We encourage you to also interact with us using at Global TV NG, as well as other handles now showing on your screen across our social media platforms. I'm Louis saying a big thank you to you for watching. We'll see you again.